Should I buy Bitcoin or should I buy real estate? People have been investing in real estate for a very long time, and historically, real estate has been a very good investment. For many people, their home is their main investment, their main store of value, and for many people, when they have extra money that they're looking to put to work, they look to a market like real estate because real estate continues to rise in dollar terms. It's a scarce asset. But with the advent of Bitcoin, a better money, I think it's going to change the real estate market moving forward. So that is what we are going to be talking about today in this video. Before I do get into it, please make sure to like the video and also subscribe to the YouTube. Really appreciate your support. I'm also going to put a QR code down below for a Bitcoin tip. So if you want to support the channel, feel free to leave me a little Bitcoin tip. Now let's get into it. Now, what makes real estate a good investment? I think the most important quality of real estate is that it's scarce. We know that scarcity drives value. So there is a limited amount of real estate, at least on this planet. And when multiple parties want the same piece of real estate and there's only one piece, it drives up the price, right? You have a lot of demand and a limited supply. And with the existing fiat system where the money supply is always rising, right? We're seeing the dollar supply rising. That means that real estate, a very scarce asset, gets priced higher in dollar terms as the money supply heads higher. So really, real estate has been a great hedge against dollar debasement because it is one of the scarcest assets out there. Another reason why people want real estate and why people value real estate is because people want a home. They want a place where they can raise their family. They want a place that they can feel at home, that they feel is truly theirs. And I think that's something that most of us want. I know that's something that I want at some point in the future, a place to go home, a place to raise a family, and there's value in that, right? We also know that people can invest in real estate and use it for additional production. People can use real estate for agricultural purposes. They can invest in farmland, or they can put orchards and vineyards on their real estate. People can invest in real estate and use it as a place to produce goods, right? They can do manufacturing on their real estate. And people can just invest in real estate and use it in other ways, like a working space where people can meet and come up with ideas to produce more things. So really, real estate can be used as a hub for additional production, which is pretty valuable. Another benefit of real estate is, let's say you're investing in a second property, an investment property, and you're renting it out. On one hand, you're watching the price of that property go up in dollar terms because real estate is a scarce asset, but you're also earning yield as you're renting it out and you're making more money that way. So that's a cool benefit of investing in real estate, is that if you're renting it out to someone, you're earning that additional yield. There are definitely some great benefits when it comes to real estate investment, but there are also some negatives. So let's now get into those. One of the main negatives with real estate is that it's not portable. You can't take your house with you. So if there is ever an event like a natural disaster, maybe a fire, a flood, a hurricane, something else, and you need to leave, well, your real estate ain't coming with you. And we've seen recently in the past couple of decades how harmful these natural disasters can be to real estate. We just had this Palisades fire down in LA that was very destructive, and in California we've seen fires really be a problem and a threat to real estate. And then on the East Coast, we've really seen hurricanes be very prevalent. We usually have a hurricane every year, and it wipes out a couple of cities, it ruins a lot of real estate. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind when you're investing in real estate, is that there is some risk there, right? What if your house burns down and then, or your community builds down and then your real estate just isn't worth that much? That is a pretty big risk, in my opinion. There's also the risk of war. Now, this is something that we typically don't think about here much in the United States because we don't really get attacked here in the United States. But in other parts of the world, where there is conflict, where there is war, that is a risk, right? If you invest in real estate and then somebody invades your territory and you have to leave, or they take your real estate from you, well, you just lost a lot of your wealth, right? You just lost your main asset. So the fact that real estate isn't portable is a big disadvantage. Another main issue with real estate is that it is illiquid. It's not easy to buy and it's not easy to sell. It takes time. Usually most properties are different, and for some properties it can take a while to find a buyer. It's not something that can be easily exchanged. We also look at the fact that real estate has a very high entry cost. If you have $1,000 in your bank account, you're probably not going to be able to invest in real estate, right? It's much easier to invest in something like Bitcoin or the stock market, something with a lower entry cost. And when we look at real estate, the prices of real estate have really skyrocketed so high that most people need to take out a loan, and most of the younger generation really can't afford to buy real estate right now. That's how high the prices are, at least where I am here on the West Coast. So that is a bit of a problem. There's also high maintenance and management costs. Now, if you buy a home, you know that this is something that you're going to have to deal with. You're going to have to fix stuff. Stuff is going to break, and there's going to be costs associated with, buying a home, having a family, and doing all of that. But if you're just looking to invest in real estate for monetary purposes, that's kind of a pain in the butt to have to deal with all these management problems and having to fix things. It takes time, it can be tiresome, and there's just easier things to invest in out there. There's also property taxes. If you buy real estate, you got to pay property taxes. It's a bummer. Nobody wants to do it, but that's just part of the deal. So there are definitely some disadvantages when it comes to investing in real estate. But when we look at the history of investing and the history of really the dollar and how much it's been inflating, people have needed an avenue to basically protect their wealth. If you just keep your money in dollars and you don't invest it, then you're going to watch your wealth fade away. And because of that scarcity that real estate has, it has been a main avenue. People tend to invest in assets that are scarce, assets that are rare, and assets that hold their value over time. And I actually have a cool chart here which kind of shows the relationship between the money supply and home prices here in the US. And as you can see, they're pretty aligned. As the money supply has risen, we've seen home prices rise at a very similar rate. So really, real estate, although it's been rising in dollar terms, it really hasn't been rising that much in real terms. It's just been tracking the money supply heading higher as people look at real estate as a way to defend against inflation, to defend against dollar debasement. Now, with Bitcoin's arrival, I think it is going to change the game for real estate, and I'll tell you why. Because the money has always been so bad, and because the money has been inflating away, people have been constantly trading out of the money. They've been looking to places like the stock market, they've been looking to places like real estate, really any other asset, so they don't watch their wealth wither away. But what happens when we fix the money and we actually get a money with good monetary properties and a money with scarcity like Bitcoin? Well, when that happens, I think people are actually incentivized to stay in the money. The only reason that people are incentivized to trade out of the money is because the money supply is growing at a faster rate than the new supply of goods and services. But if we have a fixed supply of money, we actually see a deflationary economy where the supply of goods and services is outpacing the money supply, and it leads to things getting cheaper over time and people being more incentivized to just stay in the money. And currently, people are investing in real estate and Bitcoin for the same reasons. They're investing in these assets to get out of the dollar and because these assets have scarcity. But I believe that Bitcoin has a lot of qualities that are better than real estate. And really, Bitcoin is everything that real estate isn't. And it's really just a lot easier to invest in. It's a lot easier to deal with. So let's get into some of the things that Bitcoin is that real estate isn't. For one, Bitcoin is portable. Bitcoin is liquid. If I want to buy or sell Bitcoin, I can do so in a couple of minutes. If I want to sell my house, it's going to take a couple of months. If I need to flee my country, if I need to flee my territory, I can take my Bitcoin with me. I can't take my house with me. So that is a huge advantage that Bitcoin has. The fact that it's portable and it's easy to buy or sell. Bitcoin's also durable because it's digital, right? Bitcoin is not at the same risk of a natural disaster. If you have your seed phrase written down in your house and your house burns down, you may be shit out of luck. But for the most part, your Bitcoin is at a digital address, right? It's safe and you're not at the same risk that you are with a house where your house could get flooded, it could burn down, you could experience a hurricane. So Bitcoin has that durability that real estate doesn't have. Bitcoin also has a low entry cost. If you have $1,000 in your bank account, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to get involved in real estate, but you can definitely buy Bitcoin on most of these platforms. You can start off with like a $10 buy. So it's really easy to get started in Bitcoin because you can buy as little as $10 worth. Bitcoin also has very low maintenance and management costs. It's very easy to buy Bitcoin, put it onto a cold wallet, and then put that cold wallet into a safe place. It's not like owning a home where you're having to fix your shower or change your, clean your solar panels or fix your yard. There's a lot of maintenance costs and time and energy that go into owning a home, whereas Bitcoin's just overall a lot easier. And when we look at these two investments, if Bitcoin is outperforming real estate and it's just overall a lot easier to deal with, then I think people are going to prefer to just buy and hold Bitcoin. It sounds a lot easier than having to go through this whole hassle of investing in a real estate property. If we take a look at a couple of charts here, we can compare the average home price to the Bitcoin price since 2011. And as you can see from these charts, Bitcoin has drastically outperformed real estate. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that Bitcoin has only been around since 2009 and it's gone from $0 to $100,000. So of course the returns look crazy on the Bitcoin chart compared to real estate, which has been around for much longer. But moving into the future, I think that Bitcoin will continue to outperform real estate because Bitcoin has better monetary properties. It's scarcer, and when we look at the other monetary properties, Bitcoin perfects those properties better than real estate. Because Bitcoin is outperforming real estate and it's a whole lot easier to deal with, I think we are going to continue to see real estate investors shift away from real estate and into Bitcoin because it's just a smarter move. If you can outperform your real estate by just buying and holding Bitcoin, then why wouldn't you do that? And Bitcoin is not just coming for real estate. We are seeing Bitcoin demonetize a number of assets. Bitcoin is eating into the stock market, and really where we're going to see Bitcoin make most of its gains over the next couple of years is from Bitcoin eating into the fiat assets, Bitcoin eating into fiat currencies and government debt. Because really what is happening with Bitcoin is it is replacing the fiat system, and Bitcoin's going to be the foundation for a new system. So that's the main reason why Bitcoin is going to perform all these assets moving forward, is because it's got this whole fiat system to replace, and there is a lot of monetary value there to eat up. One positive that we'll see with Bitcoin replacing fiat currency is that because Bitcoin is better money and it does have a finite supply, people are going to be more incentivized to stay in the money, like I mentioned earlier. And because of that, we're not going to see all this overinvestment in real estate. Because the dollar continues to inflate away, we get all this extra demand in real estate, and it pushes the real estate prices up so high that most people in the younger generation can't afford a home. But if we didn't have all this extra investment in real estate to hedge against the dollar debasement, then home prices would be a lot more affordable. So as people shift away from fiat and into Bitcoin, I expect that we'll see home prices rebalance a bit, and it will be more affordable for the younger generation to get a home, to afford a home. And that's something that is awesome, right? We want everybody to be able to afford that American dream, to have a home and to be able to raise a family. So I think that's one great positive that we'll see with Bitcoin becoming that new monetary base layer. That's going to wrap it up for this video. If you didn't like and subscribe, please make sure to do that now. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon.